I look directly into the camera, or can you tell if I'm like looking a little bit higher, like this? I'm just kidding. Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to buy a fixer-upper property, go through a big renovation, and decide what to do with it when you're done. Let's go check it out. I found this deal by driving for dollars, and if you don't know what that means, it's basically just driving around town looking for houses that are very distressed. Just from the curb you can tell things like overgrown bushes, broken windows, cracks in the foundation, really old siding, stuff like that. So you drive around and you send these owners letters in the mail saying, I'll buy your house for cash, or I'll buy your house and I can make an offer right away. And I sent him one of those letters and he responded a month later and I ended up buying the deal. So in response to that letter, the seller called me and I got as much information as I could over the phone, determined that it was a fixer-upper property, and asked him a few situational questions like how much he owed on the property, what the condition was like, how fast he wanted to sell it, and just stuff like that so I could understand the general situation before we went and walked through the property. So when you're touring the property with the seller, you want to keep certain things in mind. You kind of want to keep a running total in your head or on paper. That's totally normal too. If you want to just write down everything that is wrong with the house, what I do is take a ton of pictures and then I can review that later just in case I missed anything. But you want to almost itemize every little thing and add it all up, and then that is your renovation costs. And you might say, how do I know what certain things cost? You know, and if you're just starting out, you probably don't, but you can research a lot of stuff. You can look online for material prices. You can call contractors. You can do your best guesstimate, and you want to get to a number. You want to find an offer price that works for you. For example, we walked through this property and I knew the foundation had issues just from the outside, but then you get inside, go to the basement, and there's junk everywhere, so it's a little bit hard to see, but you really want to get an estimate of how widespread the damage is. So how many walls are cracked, how badly are they cracked, and what's the solution, what's the repair? And if you don't know, that's where YouTube comes in handy. I learned a ton of stuff on YouTube, foundation repair, anything. So that's the big first thing I wanted to look at when I walked through this house. The foundation needed work, and you could tell from the street that siding needed to be replaced, that doors and windows probably needed to be replaced, and then you want to look at other big things like the mechanicals, the HVAC system, so your furnace and your air conditioning. You want to see how old they are, if they even exist, what kind of condition they're in, how they're operating, and then that'll tell you how much money you're going to need to spend on either fixing it or maintaining it. Then you want to look at other stuff like the structure, electrical, plumbing, if it's all in good condition or not, and try to assign a dollar figure to every one of those items. So let's say you walk through the kitchen and it's a small kitchen like this, and you're like, okay, I need to replace cabinets, counters. There's going to be a little bit of plumbing involved because the kitchen sink has to go in, and appliances and flooring and paint. So you kind of tally everything up and come to a number for the whole kitchen. And you just do that. You could go room by room, or you could go item by item, like paint the whole house will cost maybe $6,000 to hire someone to do it. The whole house for flooring maybe cost $10,000. But you just have to determine what materials you're going to use, what the cost of labor is for a contractor to do it, or decide if you're going to do it yourself. So you also want to decide how the design will be laid out. So painting, colors, flooring colors and styles, all this stuff, what materials to use. That's a huge question. What I like to do is look at new builds. So I like, what are new builders doing? What are they putting in their properties? What color paint? What's the current trend? You know, the whole goal is to appeal to the biggest, broadest base of people, whether it's a renter or it's someone that's going to buy your house. What are they looking for? What's going to appeal to the most amount of people? So when you go to sell it, then it's easier for you to sell, and it's more trendy. So after we bought the property, after we closed and took possession, our first order of business was basically to just declutter the whole house. The whole house had tons of junk. The basement was damp and dingy and had wet carpet and all kind of nasty stuff. So we cleaned all the basement out, vacuumed everything up just to have a blank slate to start the renovations. So Fargo winters are super cold. When we bought this property, it was in November, I believe, and we had to get a new furnace. So the first order of business was get heat in the house because we couldn't do any renovations until we had some heat. So I had my contractor come over and do a new furnace, new gas line, and got heat in the house after about a few days. So in any renovation, the biggest things you want to do to add value to a property are paint, flooring, kitchens, and baths. So everyone likes a really nice kitchen, a really nice updated bathroom, and it's amazing what just a fresh coat of paint of modern color will do. So with this project, we tried an accent wall for the first time. It's basically just shiplap with some wood accents, and it's not very expensive. I think it was maybe a couple $100 to do this whole wall. Very easy to install with just a level and some brad nails, but it adds a whole lot more than just a couple $100 worth of value, in my opinion. It stands out in a renter or potential buyer's mind. It kind of breaks up the monotony of all gray walls, all white trim, and it's kind of just like a nice accent and just kind of a cool thing to separate your house from every other house. So overall, the renovations took 3 months. When we finished up, we were able to find a great tenant to lease it for a year. So we had them in here for a year, and now they just moved out. They're buying their own home, and we are selling this one to a new buyer. So thanks for watching to the end. That's basically how I did it. Went from mailing a homeowner to buying a fixer-upper to renovating it to getting it rented out, and now I'm selling it. If you like this video, check out my channel for more of the same with other properties I've done. I'm also going to be doing an in-depth review of the financial numbers and the investment as a whole for this property. So if you're interested in the investment aspect and not just the renovations, check that out too. If you're looking to get into real estate investing and do these big rehabs on a consistent basis, it's super helpful to have a list of your preferred materials, like the same paint for every house, the same flooring for every house. It really helps with decision fatigue, cutting down on making the same decisions over and over and over. If you have the same gray paint for the walls for the next 20 houses, then you don't have to make that decision ever again. You just decide on one template, what you want the house to look like, and you can make little tweaks, little design tweaks, but overall, it really streamlines the process if you can have a template for how every house should be done. And that helps with your contractors too, because if you hire the same contractors, they know exactly what cabinets you put in. They know how you like everything. They know what color paint and the flooring and how it all should look. And then that helps you manage the contractors. It helps you manage the process, as well as gives you a more consistent end result.